This is a story that will have you in knots. It's about a man who turned love into lies, trust into a trap, and a simple bottle of eye drops, yes, eye drops, into a murder weapon. Joshua Hunsucker, a North Carolina paramedic they call the eye drop killer. This isn't just a crime. It's a betrayal that rips families apart, and it's about the people that were left behind. His wife deserved better, and so does his daughter. Let's dive deeper into what really happened. Stacy Robinson Hunsucker was 32 years old, a paralegal and preschool teacher from Mount Holly, North Carolina. She was a mom of 2 young daughters and the high school sweetheart to her husband, Joshua. Despite her young age and health, she suffered from a heart condition that required a pacemaker. And on September 23, 2018, it seems that Stacy's heart finally gave out. She unexpectedly died from the condition that plagued her for most of her adult life. Joshua, a paramedic himself, told police that this was a natural death, and he refused to have the body autopsied. And he pushed to have her body cremated within days. Interesting, isn't it? But Stacy's mother, Susie Robinson, wasn't convinced. She didn't buy the narrative that Joshua was telling. And thank God she didn't, because what she uncovered changed everything. 2 days after his wife's death, Joshua filed for her $250,000 life insurance policy. That raised a red flag for Stacy's mother, as it would anyone else. And Stacy's mother contacted the North Carolina Department of Insurance, suspecting that there was fraud. Not only that, Stacy was an organ donor, so a vial of her blood had been preserved. When that blood was tested, the results was chilling. Stacy's blood contained lethal levels of, well, I can't pronounce that word, but it's a chemical found in Visine, the eye drops. If ingested, it's a neurotoxin that can stop your heart. Stacy's blood said she ingested 30 to 40 times higher than the safe dose. It appears Stacy's death was not natural at all. It was murder. But how? How could one ingest so much Visine? No pun intended, but all eyes turned to her husband, Joshua.
He saved dozens of lives as a paramedic. Now prosecutors say he murdered his wife by poisoning her with Visine.
Prosecutors say Joshua was inspired by a 2018 South Carolina case where a woman pleaded guilty to poisoning her husband with eye drops. Court documents reveal that Joshua told 2 co-workers before Stacy's death, "If I ever wanted to kill someone, I would use Visine." Prosecutors allege that Joshua slipped Visine into Stacy's drinks, building up the poison over time until there was enough to kill her. Joshua, who, remember, is a trusted paramedic, knew exactly what the eye drops could do to his wife. And he allegedly laced her drinks, maybe water, maybe her coffee, over weeks and months. Then on September 23rd, 2018, she collapsed. And Joshua allegedly did not call for help right away. He told police it was her pacemaker, and he had her cremated to hide the evidence and cashed in on that life insurance. But Susie and John Robinson fought back. Those are Stacy's parents. And they filed a wrongful death lawsuit claiming Joshua killed Stacy for the money and to be with his mistress. And that was just the beginning.
It was just after midnight when this radio transmission came through.
Hey, do you have any calls reference like a helicopter landing on the side of Independence Boulevard?
It was one of Atrium Health's Med Center Air helicopters. One of the crew members, flight paramedic Joshua Hunsucker.
Looks like it's landed over here for some reason.
That reason, we're now learning, according to CMPD, Hunsucker set fire to a syringe pump while the helicopter was mid-flight.
The pilot had to make an emergency landing in Charlotte, and Joshua was later charged with arson. What happened next is even wilder. While out on bond, Joshua's behavior got worse. Prosecutors say he harassed Stacy's parents, John and Susie Robinson. He allegedly followed them to church, filmed them at their granddaughter's lacrosse practices, sent packages demanding they drop the case, and made vulgar gestures in public. And then in February 2023, things took a horrifying turn.
Well, this morning, a new twist in the case of the North Carolina paramedic accused of killing his wife by putting eye drops in her drinks. So prosecutors, they're now alleging that 39-year-old Joshua Hunsucker poisoned his then 10-year-old daughter with the same substance. He was back in court on Friday on new charges, 4 counts of intimidation of a witness and obstruction of justice. But prosecutors allege that he engaged in a pattern of harassment toward witnesses in this case, including poisoning his own daughter in an attempt to implicate others.
On February 24, 2023, Joshua's then 10-year-old daughter was hospitalized with low blood pressure, low heart rate, and extreme exhaustion. Tests found the eye drop poisoning in her urine. They also found antidepressants not approved for children, which was later traced to Joshua's truck. Prosecutors say Joshua poisoned his own daughter's drink, trying to frame John and Susie, Stacy's parents, for murder and remove them from his daughter's life. A father allegedly poisoning his wife and now his own daughter.
Hunsucker was walked into the courtroom Monday in an orange jumpsuit. He showed no emotion. Stacy's family also seated on the benches. Hunsucker is accused of poisoning his wife with eye drops, obtaining property under false pretense, and of insurance fraud. Hunsucker bonded out in December of 2019 and was out of jail until August of this year, when new charges were filed against him, accusing Hunsucker of witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. The state then filing an order to revoke his initial bond.
On August 6, 2024, he was indicted on 4 counts of witness intimidation and 4 counts of obstruction of justice. Prosecutors also say he staged a fake kidnapping in February 2023, claiming he was pistol whipped, zip-tied, and injected with a substance, blaming Stacy's father. Today, Joshua sits behind bars, awaiting trial, which is scheduled to start later this year.